Hello. Welcome to Flix Movie Recap channel. Today's movie recap will leave you mouth wide. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment and share to others.
A girl named Zoa lives with her sister in Barcelona. That day Zoa received an invitation to an exclusive party on an island called Eden. After watching the promotional video, she was deeply attracted by the beach and the yacht in the video. She had no idea that she was only one of 100 guests after signing an electronic contract. Zoe and her best friend Judith started their tour on the island. They took a taxi to an abandoned factory and entered the factory under the guidance of a drone. There were many young people waiting inside. Suddenly all the lights went out, plunging the scene into darkness. A modified bus marked Blue Eden drove into the factory. Then everyone indulged in wine and music. After a night, the bus finally arrived at the beach. Not far away, a luxury yacht was waiting for them. However, everyone was required to remove all metal objects before boarding, and they had to hand over their mobile phones to the organization. Africa is a netizen with millions of fans, so she didn't want to hand over her cell phone. She said that taking a few photos from her phone would make party more viral, but the staff said it was unnecessary. After they confiscated her cell phone, it was her turn to do a full body check. When it was Judith's turn, something was wrong. She wasn't on the invitation list, but Zoa said that if Judith wasn't allowed in, she wouldn't join either. After the staff asked their superiors, they agreed to let Judith in. Just like that, the two of them excitedly boarded the cruise ship. Very quickly, everyone started a new party. They didn't know that what awaited them was a journey of death. The cruise ship headed towards the island deep in the sea. The organizers of this party are selecting 5 candidates out of 100 participants. Zoa is one of them. This is also the reason why Judith can participate, even though she doesn't have an invitation. The organizer asked the staff to observe the behavior of the 5 candidates after they arrive on the island, because they will join the island and start the final journey. After being on the boat for a few hours, a beautiful island appeared before everyone's eyes. The group excitedly took the boat to take them to the island. The staff put blue bracelets on each person. When night fell, the party officially began. Africa also went on stage to sing a song. She stirred up the atmosphere of the whole place. Zoa and Judith also found their favorite type. At this time, a woman in a blue dress appeared through the 3D projection. She was the host of this party. Astrid invited everyone here because her company was about to launch a new brand of energy drink called Blue Eden. This drink is not yet on the market. Only those lucky enough to have a glowing bracelet are allowed to try it. The one with the bright lacquer bracelet is Zoa, and the other 4 candidates who were chosen earlier. But as soon as Zoa drank the drink, she started to feel dizzy. She accidentally climbed up the cliff with her hands up high. When she woke up from her drunkenness, it was already morning. There was no one on the beach at this time. Judith was also gone. After a while of screaming, Zoa finally found the other 4 people. They saw that the yacht was no longer there. Some of them did not understand why they were left on the island. Their memories of last night were completely blurred. They only remembered that after drinking that energy drink, their minds were blank. Then a drone suddenly appeared. The group quickly followed it. As they got deeper into the island, the people who were initially very scared were gradually attracted by the beautiful scenery here. They walked for a long time and came to a settlement. They followed the drone to the central area and saw a group of people waiting for them. The woman in the blue dress came forward and said, "Welcome to Eden." The woman's name was Astrid. This was the Eden paradise created by Astrid. There were currently 53 people on the island who were provided for to survive. They did not need to work and did not need to spend money while here. They could have a luxurious villa and enjoy delicious food. The host Eric said that they did not force anyone. Everyone else on the island came here voluntarily. As long as everyone wanted, they could join their big family. If anyone did not want, they could leave on their own after the next boat arrived on the island in a few days. Astrid also said that they needed to wear blue bracelets on the island so that others would know that they were honored guests. Then they let the security chief Luis lead everyone to their respective accommodations. So the group of 5 was separated. They would live with the other residents. Zoa and Nicola lived in the same house. There was also another girl named Claudia, but she seemed nervous. Unlike Nicola's current attitude, Claudia saw a sign on Zoa's bed that read CF. Aldo heard a sound in the middle of the night. He noticed that his roommate was holding her hand out the far side of the window, so he quietly got dressed and walked out of the room. But before he could get far, a drone was aimed at him. The next day, everyone was given the same outfit as the other residents. While Aldo was exploring one night, he assumed that the people on the island were some kind of church organization. Their cell phones were confiscated. Their movements were also restricted. restricted. But Zoa and Charlie felt that they were single, so what good would it do if the other side left them on the island? At this time, Zoa found out that the guy who had been close to Judith at a party last night. Zoa immediately went to ask for information, but he said he didn't know who Judith was. He even said that Zoa had mistaken the person. At the same time, Aldo stole a resident's car and tried to leave quietly, but he didn't know that his bracelet had a tracking device. His location had been exposed long ago. Just as he was about to run out of the restricted area of the island, an off-road vehicle chased him. After a chase, the pursuer told Aldo that it was dangerous to drive out alone. Let her take him back to his residence immediately. Aldo seemed to understand something with his bracelet. He had no choice but to follow her back. At this time, everyone on the island gathered in a circle to do their evaluation. Zoa was chosen as the next member. Astrid said that Zoa could speak freely, so Zoa said that she just wanted to go home because she was worried about Judith. Then, under Astrid's detailed questioning, Zoa gradually let down her guard. Zoa told everyone about her family situation. She even revealed her deepest secrets, including Zoa's mother's drug addiction and being sent to a rehabilitation center. But every time Zoa's mother left the run, she quickly relapsed. And just as Zoa said that she remembered her sister's birthday, Zoa didn't know that all of this was recorded by the people in the surveillance room. Then Zoa's sister Gabi, who was far away in Barcelona, received a birthday cake with a blessing message in Zoa's name. But when Gabi read the message, she felt something was wrong, because Zoa would never miss Gabi's birthday. When Gabi called back, she couldn't reach her, so Gabi led her to Zoa's room and threw everything on the table on the floor. Meanwhile, Zoa seemed to sense her sister's feelings. Zoa woke up from her dream. Suddenly, she saw a boy outside the room looking at her worriedly. But when Zoa went out, the figure had disappeared. After dawn, Luis came to inform them that the cruise ship was on its way back. It would dock at the island port tomorrow afternoon, so they could choose to stay or leave. But Aldo was becoming more and more suspicious of the island. They had previously said that the island was off limits, but today they learned that the ship was returning. He saw some new faces on the island, busy loading cargo. He immediately suspected that they had come to the island by boat. Iban hoped that Aldo wouldn't make a fuss because they could leave when the boat arrived tomorrow, but Aldo insisted on leaving the island immediately. Meanwhile, Zoa went diving with Nicola in the morning. After the conversation, the relationship between the two became more and more intimate. After lunch, the ritual of exchanging honest words was performed again. This time, Ben described how her previous company had emitted too much CO2 and was destroying the environment. She went to see the leader, but to no avail, so she made everything public on social media. Then Ben was fired from the company. She felt lucky that Eden accepted her. Then Astrid announced that there would be a farewell party for Zoa's group of 5 tonight. Everyone started to excitedly choose their outfits to attend. Aldo was the only one sitting in the room. During the party, a girl named Alma took Iban to the beach. She knew he liked to play the piano, so she asked him to play a song before leaving. Just when everyone was immersed in the beautiful melody, Aldo threw away the bracelet and left alone. He climbed the rocks by the beach and found the islanders loading strange objects onto the ship, so he started to intend to leave. After the song ended, Alma and Iban kissed passionately. The others also started to enjoy the festival. Charlie also confessed his love to Micah, but she rejected him. He steps aside and drinks a bottle of Blue Eden. Suddenly, hallucinations start appearing before his eyes. He then runs to a tent and starts talking to Dia, but she quietly tells him that they can't leave tomorrow because they will die on this island. Hearing this makes Charlie stunned for a moment. At this time, Zoa also drinks a bottle of Blue Eden with Nicola's encouragement. It makes her instantly feel attracted to him. At the same time, Iban confesses his love to Alma. She tells him that if he loves her, then he won't leave tomorrow. Aldo sees the two kissing passionately, so he doesn't bother them. Then Aldo finds Charlie saying that he has found a way to escape the island. But Charlie is still stunned by the blue drink he drank. He kept muttering that they would die here and left. Aldo had no choice but to look for Africa. But Africa was taken to the villa where Astrid and Eric lived. Astrid told him how she built Eden to protect them from the real world. People surrendered to her power because she guaranteed their survival. As long as they obeyed her, everyone would enjoy the best life. Aldo couldn't find anyone, so he swam out to the boat on the sea. He wanted to follow the boat away from this strange island. But after dawn the next day, he woke up from the cabin. The woman who had stopped his car earlier was standing at the bow of the boat. She took out a cylindrical object and forced him to his knees. Aldo thought that she would take him back again, but then she aimed the cylinder at his head. There was only a bang. Aldo had a small hole in his head. Soon after that, she and the boat returned to the island. Somewhere on the island, Judith was still running, but with her legs covered in blood, she couldn't move. She was begging for mercy. The man didn't say anything, just painted her arms blue. Then his accomplice pointed a cylindrical weapon at her forehead and said goodbye. With just a bang, Judith died died on the spot and was kicked off the cliff. Zoa woke up on the beach. Zoa remembered the crazy thing last night with Nicola. She told him that even though she had to leave today, he could invite her to the next party. When Zoa returned to her place, she found Charlie drunk. She urged him to get ready to board the boat at noon, but they couldn't find Aldo anywhere. Aldo's roommate Ben also said that Aldo didn't come back last night. All his personal belongings were also missing, so he sent Charlie to find the security chief Luis. Although Luis promised to report to his superiors, his expression seemed indifferent. Charlie then remembered the conversation with Aldo last night when he was drunk. At this time, Luis went to Astrid's room and gently told her that Aldo was taken care of. But after Astrid heard this, she loudly declared that she would organize a search party to search for Aldo all over the island. After Nicola received the news, he also comforted Zoa. Zoa also told him about Aldo's plan to leave alone last night. She suspected that he was in danger. Nicola said that he would join the search party and provide her with the latest information, but he asked her never to discuss this matter with anyone else because he didn't want her to be in danger. Ben asked a man named Luis to find out about Aldo. They used sign language to say that they planned to get Orson's security card. It turned out that Orson had been pursuing Luis all this time, so Luis took advantage of taking Orson's access card and threw it to Ben, who was waiting outside. Ben then entered the control room with a key card. She began to query the status of the 5 people through the computer system. Their reactions to drinking Blue Eden were recorded. Africa, Ibon, and Charlie had successfully completed their psychological and behavioral assessments. Meanwhile, Aldo's information was eliminated. Zoa's result was leadership qualities and was not yet complete. At this time, Ben discovered through surveillance that Orson seemed to have realized that his access card had disappeared. Ben immediately rushed out of the surveillance room and entered from the mountain behind the cabin. She finally arrived before him. She threw the key card into the stables. At this time, Astrid was calling everyone together and assigning the search tasks. At the same time, they also announced the good news about Africa's decision to stay on the island. It turned out that Africa had been persuaded by Astrid and Eric to stay. Ibon had been controlled by his father since he was a child, and now that he loved Alma, he had also decided to join Eden. It didn't take long for their family to receive the message that he would be leaving for a while, so Ibon's father hired a famous private detective to investigate his whereabouts. At this time, Charlie was still sitting alone on the beach in a daze. After Charlie saw Africa, he felt that Aldo was right. The ship could not come, but Africa felt that Aldo had infected Charlie with delusions, so she dragged him back to camp. A ceremony was being held to welcome Ibon to join and share their pasts, and the next person to share was Charlie. At this time, Charlie was blaming himself for Aldo's disappearance, so he shouted that he was not willing to accept Astrid's brainwashing. Their mission was to force Ibon and Africa to stay. After saying that, he ran out of the yard and turned to leave, but Astrid quickly acted to force Charlie to return. In fact, Astrid already knew Charlie's past, so she easily penetrated his defenses. Thus, Charlie gradually revealed the source of his inner pain. When he was 8 years old, he took his 5-year-old sister to the beach. An accident happened and his sister drowned. She was the most beloved child in the family, so Charlie's parents blamed him. They still haven't forgiven him. Astrid said that the people of Eden would never do anything to hurt Charlie. Just when Charlie was moved and almost agreed to stay, Zoa interrupted Astrid. Zoa accused Astrid of brainwashing them to control them. Everyone was lying and testing them. After saying that, Zoa angrily turned and left. Nicola had the best relationship with Zoa, so he quickly chased after her to convince her to calm down, but Zoa said that she could only calm down when she got on the boat to leave the island. At this point, Nicola finally said that the boat would never come, but now he couldn't say anything more. He said that tonight, when everyone went to bed, she needed to take off the bracelet and leave it on the bed and not let anyone see her. Late at night, Nicola took Zoa to a mysterious cave on the island and told her to calm down. As the two deepened, Zoa discovered a woman's body wrapped in a white cloth on a pile of firewood. It was Zoa's best friend Judith who had come to the island with her. Now she couldn't keep calm at this moment. Tears kept falling from her eyes because Judith's death was a great loss to Zoa. It made her sick and didn't want to go out, but Luis was forced to take Zoa to the infirmary for the doctor to check. They suspected that she was just pretending to be sick. Zoa felt dangerous, so she tightly held the screwdriver hidden in her sleeve until her palm was pricked and bleeding. She passed the test with excitement. Then, Zoa went to Africa to tell her everything, but Zoa discovered that Africa's bracelet was missing. It turned out that Africa had signed an agreement to stay in Eden. Eric also suddenly appeared and gave Africa a flower. Seeing that, Zoa praised him and warned Africa to be careful. There was a storm coming. The camp bell rang in the night. The storm was coming, so all the members had to evacuate together. At this time, Charlie was wandering around when suddenly a lightning bolt from the sky hit the electric pole and blew blew him away. After being taken to the hospital, the doctor said that he had a broken rib. Then the doctor injected him with a strange blue liquid. Micah came to visit him at night. When he saw her, he begged her not to leave him here alone, so she took him to his room. Charlie's rib had just been broken not long ago, and he was able to exercise, but Micah was the one who was supervising the whole island, and there was no monitoring room. At that time, Zoa and Ebon had the opportunity to go to the cave where Judith was found, but this time they found the body was gone. Ebon thought that Zoa was deceiving him with the intention of causing a rift between him and Eden. The two of them hurried back to the camp, worried. Nicola saw the two of them enter together and felt quite uncomfortable. At this time, Zoa told Nicola that Ebon also had the right to know about Judith's death, but Judith's body in the cave had disappeared. Nicola was also surprised and warned Zoa not to trust Ebon. As far as Nicola knew, Ebon was the first of the 5 people to agree to stay on the island. When Zoa came to the door and complained, she met Ben waiting here. Ben reminded Zoa to stay away from Nicola and not to trust him too much, because Nicola was sent by Ashtit to keep Zoa on the island using feelings. After Zoa returned, she couldn't help but ask Nicola about his feelings for her, because she found out that Ebon stayed on the island because of Alma. Africa also stayed on the island because of Eric. They were everyone's clue to keep people from staying. When Nicola heard the word clue, her expression immediately changed. He asked her where she heard it from, but of course, Zoa remained silent. Nicola and Luis then reported to Ashtit that someone on the island had secretly betrayed them. It turned out that everything from Nicola approaching Zoa to him secretly taking her into the cave to see Judith's body was all arranged by Ashtit. So Ashtit immediately decided to abandon Zoa and eliminate her. Soon after, Zoa was escorted back to Ashtit's mansion. Eric and Ashtit began to persuade her one last time to join the Eden family. But Zoa was always indifferent because she thought they were kidnapping and killing people. So Ashtit said that Zoa had broken the contract when she brought Judith. So Zoa also had to bear some responsibility for the death of her best friend. At this time, Zoa lied and said that she had heard the word clue from Aldo. She didn't know who he heard it from. Brenda held a steel pipe weapon and pointed at the back of Zoa's head. At the dangerous moment, Zoa immediately pretended to be on duty and expressed her willingness to try to integrate into life on the island. She was willing to accept punishment and would be their good girl. Ashtit finally felt that killing Zoa would be a pity, so she let Zoa go. Seeing Zoa alive walking out of the mansion, Nicola was very surprised. He wanted to comfort her, but she still didn't say anything. After returning to the camp, Nicola called Luis aside. He complained that he couldn't get a level up in this mission. Furthermore, Luis had arranged for Ben to compete with him and become Zoa's new link. After returning to the room, Zoa grabbed Nicola and claimed that he knew when Judith was killed. Unexpectedly, Nicola had a different expression. He said that no one cared about Judith. Zoa was so angry that she was speechless. Zoa was surprised when she saw Nicola's true face. At night, she quietly took a screwdriver and went to him. When she was about to kill him to avenge her best friend, Claudia suddenly appeared and stopped her. At this time, Ebon was sleeping with Alma. The more he thought about it, the more he felt it was wrong and just wanted to leave Eden and go home. After leaving the room, he discovered that the drone that had originally monitored the island was no longer there. He ran to the cliff by the sea and saw a wooden boat carrying firewood floating on the sea not far away. The person on it was Zoa's best friend. The boat quickly caught fire. Only then did Ebon know that everything Zoa said was true. Early in the morning, Luis saw Ebon returning alone. Luis immediately asked why he broke the rules and ran away. Ebon said that if he did not follow the rules, he would be turned into a corpse and thrown onto the boat. Luis quickly asked how Ebon knew about the boat. As soon as Luis stepped forward to the compartment, Ebon punched him, causing him to fall. Orson did not dare to say a word at this time. Then the three of Zoa, Ebon, and Charlie arrived at the beach. They suggested to stop fighting with Luis for their own safety. They could only survive by joining Eden first and then finding a way to escape. Zoa's plan was to wait until the next party was held on the island. Then they would escape from here on the yacht that was carrying passengers. Before that, they could not trust anyone on the island. Zoa and Nicola, Ebon and Alma were all bonds that kept them trapped on the island and unable to leave. Hearing this, Charlie thought of Micah, who had spent the night with him last night. Was she also his bond? At the same time, Gabi on the other side saw the message on Zoa's social software. The other person was the guy who was with Zoa at party. He wanted to date her and rekindle their relationship. Through that, Gabi learned about the Eden party from him. However, he refused to reveal the location because they had signed a confidentiality agreement. After Gabi kept pestering the guy, he finally took out the blue bracelet he had quietly obtained and told her everything. But no one knew that the bracelet would automatically activate after Gabi put it on. What they didn't know was that the location of the bracelet had been determined by Micah. Gabi knew that Eden chose young people from the social platform. In order to find her missing sister, she started started dressing herself in a mature and sexy look and posted it on social media. At this time, the private detective hired by Ebon's father also investigated his whereabouts. Then she went to the abandoned ship, but everything was empty. She received a message on her phone. It was a report of other missing people in the city on the day Ebon disappeared. After she clicked on it, Zoa's name and others were on it. It didn't take long for the private detective to find Zoa's house. She also got Gabby's contact information from their mother. Then the two met to talk about their plan to find the missing person. So Gabby gave the blue bracelet to the private detective. She continued to post mature pictures on social media in the hope that Eden's people would keep an eye on her. And it was also revealed that Claudia prevented Zoa from killing Nicola. It turned out that the bed Zoa slept on originally belonged to her boyfriend named Frank. They had been together for 2 years. Frank was very kind and always wanted to help others. Then Frank was influenced by Ben to join the fight against Astrid, but Frank was accidentally exposed and killed. Now Zoa has become Ben's next target. Claudia advised Zoa to stay away from Ben and her resistance organization. On the other hand, Africa is actively participating in various activities on the island. When Africa learned that tomorrow was Astrid and Eric's anniversary, she offered to throw them a party to celebrate. Eric initially refused, but she was successfully brainwashed by him. He said that doing so would bring them closer to the members on the island and win their love. If Astrid and Eric always sat on the top, someone would definitely come to overthrow them. So everyone started to prepare. Africa was in charge of the set design and catering for the day. She wanted to achieve results to become the manager here. At the same time, Africa asked Micah to edit the video of Astrid and Eric and project it on the big screen. While Micah was processing the video, Charlie suddenly ran over and asked if Micah was assigned to be his contact. When Micah stood up to explain, everything on her computer screen changed. It flickered for a moment and then returned to normal. Micah said that she only liked being with Charlie, but if asked to choose between Charlie and Eden, Micah admitted that she would not choose Charlie. After the night fell, the beach party began. The main characters, Astrid and Eric, went on stage to give a speech. At this point, everyone also knew about the existence of this Eden Island. The purpose of the Eden Project started 15 years ago. Astrid and Eric came together by chance. Astrid's father was a doctor who had been researching climate change all his life. He warned the world about climate change, but was opposed by all the developed industrial countries. They caused his accidental death in a car accident. These years, the trend of climate change is advancing to an irreversible level. By then, humanity is destined to become extinct. Thus, this Eden was born. Everyone on the island will then become survivors. At this moment, a strange symbol suddenly appeared on the big screen. It was the announcement that Astrid would be executed. Now, everyone present at the scene was stunned. The most angry person was Astrid. Astrid thought that Africa had planned this incident because she was in charge of everything from organization to layout. Astrid blamed Eric for letting the lowest level people move forward so quickly. Astrid thought that Africa had influenced Eric's judgment and that he had given her too much power. So she called the council members on the island. The culprit paid with his life. After Micah investigated everyone's records, she found out that Africa and the other members on the island did not have such hacking skills. Astrid felt that her authority was being challenged, so she needed to find someone to take responsibility, whether he did it or not. Luis mentioned Aloy, who had a conflict with him yesterday, but Orson still withstood the pressure and saved him. Then Brenda chose Zoa. Brenda thought that Zoa could not accept the death of her best friend, so she was just acting. At this time, Astrid said that she liked Zoa very much, so it was still in the observation period, but if the majority of the committee agreed, she could also accept Zoa's sacrifice. Just like that, a vote to decide Zoa's survival began. Brenda, Luis, and Orson voted in favor. Meanwhile, Micah voted against. That tied the vote. The final choice fell to Saul. A few minutes later, Brenda led everyone into Zoa's room, but Brenda's target was not Zoa, but Claudia. It turned out that Saul also voted against. The last person responsible for the vote was Claudia. They took Claudia to the cliff where they were executed and painted their hands with blue paint. At this point, Claudia knew she would not survive. After Frank's death, Claudia no longer had the will to live, so she voluntarily admitted to faking the video. Claudia was then executed by Brenda. That night, a rebirth ceremony was held on the island for the 4 new people who joined Eden. Each person had to drink a bottle of blue Eden. After that, they left everything and accepted the challenge. If they completed it, they would find the key to their own development. The challenge was to walk on a path of red-hot rocks without shoes. Only when you remove the star necklace hanging on the bell symbolizing rebirth can you pass. In everyone's eyes, Zoa, Ebon, Charlie passed the test one by one, but the unexpected happened when it was Africa's turn. She couldn't hold on halfway and collapsed. The fire immediately burned her pants, but she tried and stood up strongly and walked forward. She finally removed the hanging star, and the challenge was completed. The new member of the Eden family will have a hanging star tattooed on her wrist. 1 star is the lowest level. Members can only have a chance to advance if they work hard. Alma and Eva were the first 2 to be promoted this time. Alma succeeded because she was the one who pulled Iban to join. Therefore, she was qualified for promotion. Luis, because of his contributions, became the first 3-star family member after Astrid and Eric. There will be 100 new guests coming to the island for the party, and they will choose the best ones. The islanders can be the link between the introduced people. If you successfully attract them to join, you can get a promotion degree. After they return to the villa, Astrid and Eric discuss the threat. But Eric has done it, no longer matters. They have already told everyone what to do with the traitors. If they want to continue, they will have to think carefully before acting. The only thing that matters is as long as they get the signal they have been waiting for, they can go to the point of real suspicion with the person named Isaac. What they do not know is that Ben is quietly coming to the beach because of this. The person who met Ben is Eva, who was promoted to 2 stars earlier today. This meeting is to plan to find out who threatened Astrid, because the person behind this is not them. Their enemy is all aimed at Astrid, so they can get support. So Ben wants Eva to be able to infiltrate the council to gather useful information. As expected, Astrid still does not give up. Astrid asks Micah to start searching all the surveillance videos on the island to find the person who threatened to kill her. At this time, Charlie goes through the underground caves of the island and he finds a hidden path to the sea. Charlie then reports this news to Zoa and Iban, but Iban wanted to live here, so he did not want to return to the world ruled by his father. Zoa had to leave alone in disappointment. Ben meets Zoa and starts talking about Eric's family. It turns out that Astrid and Eric cannot have children. That is why they look for young people from all over the country to raise as their own children. People here are not allowed to get pregnant. That's why there are no children on the island. If they don't meet Astrid's expectations, she will find a replacement. So Ben organized a resistance movement to overthrow Astrid's rule. But Zoa remembered that she met a boy on the first night on the island. Ben thought that Zoa drank the blue liquid and had hallucinations. Zoa also expressed her helplessness when she stayed on the island and joined the resistance organization. Zoa still wanted to return home. She even invited Ben to come with her. Ben said that she couldn't leave her other partners behind. If Zoa wanted to leave, Ben wouldn't stop her. That night, a shadow used Luis's level 3 access card to enter Astrid's house. He came to Astrid's bed with a knife in his hand and covered her mouth, but Eric woke up in time and stopped him. Then the two fought in the dark room, but Eric was quickly knocked down by his opponent. Astrid took the opportunity to hit Killer on the head with something. However, Astrid was immediately kicked down by his opponent. Eric got up and rushed forward, but was stabbed in the stomach by the masked man. Just like that, the killer fled the scene. Astrid did not take Eric to the infirmary to find a doctor, but instead drove across the border of the island's restricted area. Soon they reached a hidden valley. The person they asked for help turned out to be the boy Zoa had met on her first night here. The boy's name was Isaac. Isaac quickly sewed up Eric's wound. Astrid quickly ran back to organize a meeting because tomorrow there would be 100 new guests arriving on the island. She needed to make sure that the selected candidates would be given the right leads. At this point, someone asked why Eric wasn't here since today was so important. Astrid said he was sick. Soon after, some people arranged to welcome them, but when Micah left, she found blood on the steps of the mansion. At the same time, Nicola also met Zoa and wanted to get back together with her. He also said that he would escape the island with her, but after what happened before, Zoa lost faith in Nicola. The two of them parted ways uneasily. Under Luis's arrangement, everyone was assigned their own tasks. Only Africa wanted more power, so she was assigned to houses in different areas. The assignment of tasks accidentally ruined Zoa and Charlie's plan to escape the island. Zoa thought there was no hope of returning home, so she stole a patrol car. She drove towards the coast at a very high speed. With mad desperation, she hit the steering wheel. When Brenda found out, she brought a steel pipe weapon and chased after him. Nicola also got in the car and went there. Unexpectedly, Ben found Zoa first. Ben promised that she would help Zoa escape from the island. When Brenda arrived at the scene, she saw Zoa and Ben talking, so she assumed that Zoa had no intention of escaping and drove back. Meanwhile, Africa was complaining to Astrid about why she had left her in the camp. Astrid said that Africa's face was recognized by too many people. Africa's disappearance might affect the newcomers' party. On this side, Charlie found Micah and said that he liked her very much. He promised that he would never forget her. When she heard that, she understood the hidden meaning in his words. She also warned him not to do anything stupid or she could only kill him. Ben also kept his promise. Ben arranged to put an oxygen tank on the beach next to Zoa's upcoming ceremony. As long as they can dive and escape to the ship, there will be people from the resistance organization to cover their return to the mainland. But what Zoa doesn't know is that her sister Gabi is also in trouble. Gabi had turned on the blue bracelet earlier and revealed revealed her location. In just a few days, David was captured by the Eden organization. She used his mother's life to get information about Gabi. Then, David was shot dead by her. At this time, the female detective used the blue bracelet to follow the trail to the beach where the Eden cruise ship picked up guests. But when she arrived, it was too late. By this time, the cruise ship had already brought 100 new people to the island. Meanwhile, Africa refused to stay still and went to find Eric. By chance, she found Luis's access card that the assassin had thrown on the grass. Africa soon entered the room, but she couldn't find any trace of Eric. After Africa searched, she found a metal cross star found in the desk. It was exactly like the classy tattoo on their arms. Africa also accidentally used this magnetic star to open the underground elevator. At this time, the new partygoers landed on the island one by one. While they were singing and dancing, Ben went to the area where the guy in charge of the sound system was. Not long after, the entire power supply in the place was suddenly cut off. Taking advantage of the chaos, Charlie quickly ran to the place where the oxygen tank was hidden to dive into the sea to get to the ship. But Zoa did not have time to escape because the power was restored. When Zoa tried to dig up the oxygen tank from the beach, she was discovered by Luis. He attacked her. He was angry that she had stolen his access card and caused chaos to escape. Just when Luis wanted to strangle Zoa to death, Ibon suddenly rushed out to stop him. While the two were fighting at sea, Ibon took a rock and knocked Luis unconscious. Then, Ibon held Luis's head and drowned him in the sea until he gradually became silent. Charlie escaped early, so he climbed onto the boat. But at this moment, a drone suddenly appeared and aimed at him. Micah looked at Chari with a broken heart, but because of her love for him, she did not reveal everything. At this time, Africa had reached a computer room by the elevator in the secret room. She saw the confirm send button on the controller, so she pressed it. Then suddenly the whole system started running. A giant satellite dish in the mysterious valley inside the island was also activated. It was sending an unknown signal into space and waiting for an answer. Isaac quickly informed Eric, who was recovering from his injuries in the tent. They were all confused about what was happening. At this time, Africa in the computer room also realized that something was wrong. She wanted to escape, but she was a step too late and was locked inside. At the same time, Nicola looked around the beach and did not see Zoa anywhere. He only saw Ben. He looked at her suspiciously. At this time, Zoa was swimming strongly towards the yacht, but suddenly she saw a familiar figure from the member transport boat. It was Gabi. It turned out that Gabi was looking for Zoa. Gabi shined on social networks and was chosen by Eden. Seeing the boat carrying Gabi heading towards the beach, Zoa was extremely stunned. Zoa did not know whether to run away or stay to protect her sister. So part 1 of the movie ended here. Please subscribe to the channel to wait for part 2, everyone. The remaining mysteries of this season will be revealed in the near future. Thanks for watching. Goodbye, and see you again.